for Nolan Xavier Wells. 18 years old, gone too soon. Mississippi, y'all got some explaining to do. Mississippi, need to release that report. Low down, dirty ass Mississippi. What you hiding? Why you not talking? Why the hell you not saying a damn thing? Talk. I pray the family get real answers. And no, we the people won't go away. Never, hell no, not today. Mississippi, the Most High gonna really deal with you. July 4th lights, boat ride with the crew. Young King Nolan chasing dreams, Ocean Springs through and through. Horn Island called his name, he relaxing in the blue. 2 days later found on the sand. What happened to you? Independent autopsy dropped, but it's undetermined. Red mark on the back of the head, neck structures missing. Absurd. State sitting quiet, toxicology on the shelf. Family screaming for truth, but y'all protecting yourself. Nolan was a star athlete with a future bright. Now his mama crying every single night. Boating trip turned nightmare. Questions in the air. Who was on that island? Why the silence there? Mississippi, need to release that report. Low down, dirty ass Mississippi. What you hiding? Why you not talking? Why the hell you not saying a damn thing? Talk. I pray the family get real answers. And no, we the people won't go away. Never, hell no, not today. Mississippi, the Most High gonna really deal with you. Grand jury waiting, but the people still fighting. No severe trauma, they say, but the story don't add up clean. Waves whispering secrets, covering up the scheme. Oh, young black man gone, another one in the South. History repeating, time to open your mouth. What you hiding in them files? Why the delay? Transparency dying, why the family pray? Nolan's light was shining, future snatched away. Now the whole world watching what Mississippi say. We marching, we posting, we demanding justice loud for every mother losing sons behind that murky cloud. Oh.
I pray the family get real answers.
No more games, no more lies.
No more games, no more lies.
Nolan deserved better, the truth never dies. From the island to the courtroom, we standing tall. Mississippi,
Your reckoning,
gon' come.
one and all.
Finding all. Mississippi, need to release that report. Release it now, release it now, release it now. Need to release that report. Mississippi, what you hiding? Why you not talking? Why the hell you not saying a damn thing? I pray the family get real answers. No, we the people won't go away. Never, hell no, not today, not today. Mississippi, Most High gonna really deal with you. For Nolan Wells, we won't go away. Release the report. Justice now.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original QueenAShakur show. I'm your host, QueenAShakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, let's get ready to get into it because the Cajun Navy released some more pictures. And one of those pictures has me asking several questions, okay? We're going to get into it. But before we do, as per usual, we're going to have a brief word from my sponsor in just a second. Hold on, guys. I'm sending something to my email real quick. All right. So let's see who's in here. Roger is here. Love Christy, Bradley, Spalding, Irma. All right, let's get into it. Everybody hit the like button. Thank you in advance. Tamala, 504 Nola, Deborah, Mike Richard is here, Mel. All right, let's get into it. Angie, 57 Beige Fox, Leon. Okay, Syracuse basketball. All right, so shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen, and a big shout out to my moderators because they be putting in work. Okay. So before we get started, as per usual, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Kratz. You can also find her products at Walmart. And don't forget that she sells beard oil as well. Okay, so how many of you have seen this picture? Okay, how many of you have seen this picture? Now look at this guy bending over. It looks like he's picking someone up, like he's holding a body. I'm going to go to a larger picture of it. Now this is a little cleaned up due to AI, but I'm going to go to the original photo. Okay, so but we'll do that in a second. In the meantime, in between time, I told you all on yesterday that Warren said the same thing in Tap Dancing Tatum's interview about how Ocean Springs is close knit, and basically said the same thing that Trayston said. And so I found the timestamp. Okay, so I'm gonna go to that really quick. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Let's get into it.
What do you mean? People are threatening you with weapons? People are, not allowing you, deny you service? Because I heard that Trayston, he went to a corner store and they told him his money is not good there. They wouldn't even let him buy Gatorade.
Yeah.
Are you experiencing things like that or something totally different?
Right. I wouldn't say like that. I think I haven't been denied, anything, but like Trayston, it's hard to hear from a good friend of mine that he's getting denied a Gatorade and a Red Bull before work.
First of all, let me just interrupt for a second and say this. Getting denied to buy a darn Gatorade is nothing. This is what happens when you're privileged and you don't you have everything handed to you, from the time you're born. Okay, you have everything handed to you on a silver platter. You have no concept of reality. You don't know what it is to struggle, to be told no, to be denied access to things that you feel you should readily have available to you. They don't understand that. So to them, that is probably oppression. Okay? That's probably how that feels to them. They think that's oppression. I want you all to pay attention. It's so ridiculously ridiculous. It's laughable. But let's continue.
And having to, like, he calls me, he's like, dude, you won't believe what just happened. He got called out at Walmart. Someone called him out at Walmart and was like asking him all these questions and trying to press him about it. And it's crazy to me. Like, we live in a very tight-knit community, and for people to, push back and say these things when they know what Ocean Springs is like, it's really hard. And I mean, I don't think I haven't.
Now that's it right there. Did you all hear how he said that? He said to live in Ocean Springs and have people push back. To have people push back when they know how it is in Ocean Springs. That's hard. See, he's not used to pushback. He's not used to people saying things, negative things about them. He's not used to people coming for them. Just like he said that Tracy got called out in Walmart. They're not used to getting called out. They're used to calling people out. Okay? Let's rewind that back again. Sounds just like what Tracy said.
Believe what just happened. He got called out at Walmart. Someone called him out at Walmart and was like asking him all these questions and trying to press him about it. And it's crazy to me. Like, you know, we live in a very tight knit community, and for people to, you know, push back and say these things when they know what Ocean Springs is like, it's really hard. And I mean, I haven't had many personal encounters, but I know being around the guys and stuff like that, they have.
So he can't believe that they're getting pushed back. Yeah, I guess they thought everything's just going to go on business as usual. Maybe if they hadn't been acting so darn sketchy, it would have. Okay, because nobody's saying they did anything. We're just saying that they act as though they did something. Let me read my darn disclaimer before I get myself in trouble. Views, opinions, allegations, and accusations expressed by guests, third parties, or commenters on their own, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the original Queen QueenAShakur show. Content is presented for commentary, discussion, reporting, and educational purposes. Discussion of an allegation does not mean the allegation is true or endorsed by this channel. All persons are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. All right. Y'all remember this? The Cajun Navy's report on the Nolan Wells case focused exclusively on 3 specific boats, omitting Bart Edmiston Jr. because he traveled on a separate vessel and was not part of the primary friend group. According to reports, Edmiston only interacted with the group after they left Horn Island and was not involved in the 4:31 p.m. departure timeline investigated. Now, I find that interesting because if he was involved in that timeline, how was he close enough by them to give them a tow? And who was yelling for Nolan to get on the boat? These stories just keep changing, and quite frankly, they're all over the place, if you ask me. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share. I'm going to bring up 2 video clips. Hold on, here we go.
Didn't want you to see this video because they made it ineligible immediately so you wouldn't see it. So let's go through a speed run of the information. We can now definitively say that this is Jax. We can also now definitively say that this is Morgan. He's wearing the same hat as well as the same bracelets. So where were they on the Triton? Now that we've got a much clearer video thanks to Officer Tatum, it's obvious that there is nobody in an orange swimsuit or a paisley swimsuit on this boat. We also barely see that there's somebody here in the red shorts. Now in this Katie Snapchat picture, I've been saying that there was somebody in the background here wearing red shorts. So I pumped up the exposure, and as you can see, it certainly looks like it. They seemingly have similar body types as well as similar hairlines. We also know that whoever was in the red shorts was also on the shoreline when the fight broke out. Now who was involved in that fight? Warren's brother, Carter. Carter, who trains in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And by Warren's own admission, his brother put someone in an arm bar, and in case you don't know what that looks like, go ahead and look at that placement on the back of the head there. Spot look familiar? Given Carter's height, build, body type, this looks like it could be him. But one blurry, underexposed picture is not solid proof of anything, right? But we know Warren grabbed his younger brother and had him come over hang out with them on their boat as they were sinking or whatever. And it would be pretty bad for their case if this was Carter on the Triton and then on Katie's boat at 6 o'clock. But now my attention turns to this person who a lot of people think is Bart. But in his hand, he is holding a cell phone. So I thought, why would Bart jump from his boat to the other boat holding a cell phone when other people have cell phones in their hands while Wyatt is on the phone in the picture? So while I was trying to compare pictures of Bart to the person on the boat that I can't identify, I found this picture with him with a tattoo from about 2 years ago. And it wasn't until just today that I stopped looking at the tattoo and I started looking at his wrist. Because someone in the background of this picture has always stuck out to me because my instinct always was like, is that Bart? Bart seemingly has a pretty pronounced mullet, as according to this picture. But this was definitely not on Bart's boat. I checked the seating and the covers, like it's not Bart's boat. Now, I think you pretty much get where I'm going with this, because then I remembered this bracelet. Pretty unique bracelet. Unique like the bracelet that Bart Jr. was wearing in that tattoo picture. And right here looks like it might be the tail end of a tattoo that wraps around the forearm, right in the same place that it would be on Bart. I've said for a while now that the story about them calling Bart that morning to go out on the boat never made sense, because what 21-year-old didn't already have plans for 4th of July? So then the question is, who is driving Bart's boat? Which brings me back to this guy who some people have thought looked like Bart. However, we do know that he was on Bart's boat handing out drinks to people in that 7-second clip we've seen. Same hair, same glasses, same hat. By the way, did y'all know that Bart has a younger brother? The family resemblance is very striking. I mean, the real difference is that he's a little bit shorter and has a squarer jaw. And does anybody want to guess what his younger brother's name is? Brooks. Now, I seem to remember, and I can't remember exactly the context, a certain somebody talking in an interview about his buddy Brooks. Here's your reminder to check out my bio if you want to support my work.
Okay, that was some very good information. Please pay attention. Now let's go to this next clip. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
This. I want to say around 3:40, 4 o'clock, an altercation had happened between one of my other friends, and checked on him for about 20 minutes, 20 to 15 minutes. I came back. Nolan's boat and the people that he was with were gone.
Last time I personally laid eyes on Nolan was at like 3 o'clock, and he was, front of the boat with the girl.
From the first report, this entire investigation has been based upon the timeline that was given to us by Warren and his friends, and then was stamped and sealed by Judge Ashley Cole. But as we've all seen, those timelines have never worked. That's why they're so confusing, because those timelines were just trails to lead to their version of the truth. But after a month later and a lot of talking, there are more pieces to the puzzle, revealing a pivotal 30-minute window when Nolan disappears. This timeline is built upon reports given to us before Nolan was found, and also through all the interviews from Nolan's so-called friends. The major events are pre-fight, then the fight 1 and 2, leaving the island, and then when most of the young people have gone and left the island. This is key because multiple reports the day after Nolan went missing say that most of the young people left the island by 5:45. The two anchors for this report are Javon's report, which happened around the time when Nolan was missing. That's why I'm using it. And then the screenshot, that famous viral video that we heard of that time of 4:01 after the second fight.
I want to say around 3:40, 4 o'clock, an altercation had happened between one of my other friends. I went and checked on him for about 20 minutes.
He leaves Nolan to go see about the first fight. The first fight happens from your boy Tristan when a white person comes and tries to police him about how he's talking to his white girlfriend. Shortly after, Carter, who is Warren's little brother, continues the fight closer towards the beach. And in that viral video, if you see the height of the individuals, they look a little bit shorter. And then this screenshot says that that video was taken after the second fight around 4:01. Tristan says that Nolan allegedly was not in the fight, but that he was out of frame in that video, which means he's still there. And from Warren, I think Nolan is still in the water by the boats. Warren puts the sequence of fight, second fight, and then him going to see the issues with the boat. There is no way that the last time that he saw Nolan was at 3 p.m. because this is now 4 o'clock.
So you get ready to go. There's an issue with the boat.
Okay, yeah.
And this is
Well,
what
yeah, this
ended
led up to that. That's what I was saying.
So
Okay.
the fight happened with your brother, or a little scuffle.
We're getting closer to that 4:30 p.m. departure time from the GPS, but that doesn't mean that that's when they tried to start leaving the island.
I came back. Nolan's boat and the people that he was with were gone.
To me, this is the infamous moment where Warren claims that they said for Nolan to get on the boat, but then Katie says that she thought he left with them.
Nolan was sitting by the boat with that Katie girl, and my buddy yelled for Nolan, get on the boat. We're leaving. The boat's having issues. And like, no, he didn't say that, but he was panicking.
The thing about the two boats that I said, there were two boats tied up. So therefore, I didn't know which boat Nolan exactly was on because they were both tied up.
This is key. Javon says the boats, plural, are gone, and then Nolan was gone. This is so important. Trayston leaves the island in his boat, but then also all three boats that came to the island leave around the same time. Warren said the Palm Beach had left, the Triton that we know about, and then the tide line is Bart's boat. Here's why I think we should rule out option one, that Nolan stayed behind. Because one, Katie was still right there. Javon, his real best friend, was still there, and even his coach was there around 3:30. So how does he not see any of those people? So in my opinion, he either leaves in a boat, the timeline kind of pushes him to that type of decision, or he's still in the water when there are boats moving around and these kids are intoxicated, or possibly caught in another fight that carries on after the second one, and then multiple boats leave.
Okay, so I have to agree with him. I have to agree with him because I absolutely think that he was on one of those boats. And like I told you all yesterday, it makes no sense to me that he would have just stayed behind and not gotten on either of the 3 to 4 boats that all came with them. There were 3 to 4 boats that they all came together in. That's what Warren said. 20 to 30 people in 3 to 4 boats. And Nolan didn't get on either of them. Yeah, I don't believe it. And if it doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever. But hold on. Let's go to the next clip. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. I'm going to show you all a bigger version of this picture in just a moment. Likes up, likes up. Here we go.
Sam here with a Nolan Xavier Wells update, and the United Cajun Navy has released a picture that seems to be odd. Let's just call it that. Kimberly just did a video on this, and I have to say it does raise some questions. If you look at the photo, you can see just a boat of people, and everybody on one boat to the right seems to be looking to their left. And what appears to be the guy on the boat, it looks like he's holding somebody in his arms. It looks like, now, could this be Nolan? Is it a person? Is it a steering wheel to the boat? We don't know. But that's why it's important to look at every single picture, unturn every single stone, look into every single lead that we have, because we don't know if it could be something that could help us solve this case on what happened to Nolan. Now, if they're saying that Nolan allegedly had a fight on the island and everything, is this potentially them getting him on a boat? You know, again, we're not accusing anybody. We're just speculating here and asking questions about this picture. What does he appear to have in his arms? What do you guys see? Secret Service, say Mount Sampson for president of the world.
Okay, we're going to get a closer look at it in just a second. Because you really can't make this stuff up. You really can't make this stuff up. The truth is going to come out, whether they like it or not.
Interesting update about the Nolan Wells case. I just got these photos, and according to what I'm hearing, these have come from the Cajun Navy. They put these out. I guess they had these pictures because they were trying to identify all the boats. But look at this guy here. Look how everyone over there is watching what this dude's doing on this boat. And everyone down here is looking at whoever's taking this picture. What is he doing? What is that? Doesn't that seem like a person? Look how everyone is watching whatever he's doing. And whatever he's doing looks like this. And I don't know who caught this, But baby, this is very interesting. Tell me what you guys think in the comments because interesting.
Okay, now let's go to the bigger version of that same picture. It clearly looks like he's holding a person. Okay, it clearly looks like he's holding up a person. Look how these people right here are looking. Look at the looks on their faces. But look at these people right here, how they're all looking over toward him to see what he's doing. That looks like a whole arm right there. And I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. But what is he doing? What or who is he looking down at? What do y'all think? I have several questions. Okay, that is definitely very interesting. Okay, amazing Nene said this is a reach. Though these are no arms. They didn't look like arms to you, but that's what it looks like to me. What do you all think? You all put your comments in the chat. Mel said it really does look like a person. I mean, that's what it looks like to me too. It looks like he's lifting someone up. Now, I can't say 100% that's what it looks like, but we only have the back angle. And everybody's looking at him for a reason. Okay, why are they looking at him like that? And why are these people right here looking like they're annoyed that someone's, holding a camera, taking a picture or whatever? I don't know, but it's all very strange. Now, these were released by the Cajun Navy, so I highly doubt that they're AI or anything like that. Please pay attention. But let's continue because now they're also saying that Warren is losing weight in his face. 504 Nola said it looks fishy. Yeah, it definitely does. TJ said, I agree. That looks like an arm. I definitely think so.
Sam here with a Nolan Xavier Wells update. And something a lot of people are pointing out is Warren and how much his face has changed since just the first interview a few weeks ago to right now. And it begs the question, like, he looks like he has Ozempic face, in my opinion, but is something eating away at him? Now, obviously, this has to be very stressful, all of a sudden becoming this unwanted celebrity. He talks about where he went into a restaurant and was threatened and whatnot, but this doesn't look like weight loss by a man who lost his best friend and he just hasn't slept or hasn't eaten and is just doing everything he can to figure out what happened to his friend. It looks like something is literally eating away at his soul. That's all I'm saying. It's just my opinion. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments. Secret Service Sam out Samson for president of the world.
Sam said it looks like something is eating away at him. I don't know, but you know what? I did notice that his face looked smaller, but I didn't know it was that much smaller until just now when Sam put up the comparison. Okay, definitely seems to be having some issues there. Okay, Butterfly Beloved said, who is he? Well, thank you for your question and your contribution. Peace, love, and blessings. You mean the guy on that boat? That's a good question. I don't know who that is, beloved. I hope it isn't Bart. I don't know who that is. And look at that boat out there in the distance. Dad Speaks says, looks like stress and anxiety, worried face. Daughter Zaya said, that's guilt eating away at him. Okay, I absolutely believe so. Let me just tell you all something, though. Listen, here's the thing. Now, you know how I've told you all, and we've all noticed that whenever Warren specifically has talked about Nolan, he's never seemed like he was sad. or anything. And I'm not saying that he wasn't sad. I'm just saying that he never seemed like it. So let's talk about that. What type of personality traits could lose their friend, someone they really care about, and, not have any sort of emotions or not seem to or appear to be grieving or whatever? Okay, let's talk about it. One of the most disturbing things about certain crimes isn't only the act itself, it's what happens afterward. And I'm not saying anyone committed a crime, I'm just telling you about crimes. Sometimes a person accused or even ultimately proven to have committed a terrible act can appear to simply go on about their everyday life. They may eat, laugh, socialize, sleep, party, post to social media, or carry on conversations while seemingly displaying little concern for the person who was harmed. That behavior naturally makes people ask the question, how could someone do something terrible and then act like nothing happened? There isn't one personality type that explains it, and outward behavior alone cannot tell us whether someone committed a crime. But people also respond very differently to trauma, fear, grief, and stressful situations. But psychology does recognize several traits and processes that can help explain an apparent absence of remorse. So let's talk about it. Callousness and lack of empathy. Now, one possibility is callousness. Okay, someone could just be a callous person, an unusually low emotional response to another person's suffering. That's what that means. Empathy involves recognizing and to some degree emotionally responding to what another person is experiencing. A highly callous individual may understand intellectually that another person is frightened, grieving, or suffering without experiencing much emotional discomfort themselves. That distinction is very important. Someone can understand another person's emotions without necessarily sharing the same emotions. That's a person who is, who has a lack of empathy. Now, antisocial personality traits. Now, I'm just telling you different types of personalities that may act this way. Showing little to no emotion or not seemingly to have empathy or remorse, mind you. Persistent disregard for other people's rights, repeated deceitfulness, irresponsibility, aggression, exploitation, and the lack of remorse can be associated with antisocial personality traits. Now, in clinical settings, a long-standing and pervasive pattern may sometimes meet the criteria for antisocial personality disorder. But that diagnosis requires much more than observing someone's behavior after one event. It cannot responsibly be assigned to someone just from looking at photographs, videos, interviews, or social media posts. Psychiatric traits. Let's talk about it. Now, I'm sorry, psychopathic traits. Now, let's talk about it. People often use the word psychopath casually, but psychology treats the concept much more carefully. Psychopathic traits can include shallow emotions, lack of empathy, lack of guilt, someone being manipulative, deceitfulness, superficial charm, and callousness. Some individuals with strong psychopathic traits can even remain remarkably calm after doing something that would cause tremendous emotional distress in most people. But psychopathy and criminality are not synonymous. Not everyone with psychopathic traits commits violent crimes, and appearing unemotional does not simply make someone a psychopath, but that is a trait of a psychopath. Okay, so please pay attention. But here's why I think that possibly Warren acts this way. Narcissistic traits. Extreme self-centeredness can also influence someone's reaction. Okay, and a person with strong narcissistic traits may focus primarily on questions such as, what is going to happen to me? How will this affect my reputation? Will people believe my explanation? Am I going to get caught? See, I think those are likely some of the questions that are going through Warren's mind right now, even as I speak. Okay, in that situation, the person's distress may center more on the consequences for themselves than on the suffering experienced by someone else. And that's exactly why like I told you all just yesterday, I think that basically Warren was trying to get ahead of some of the things that people are saying out here on social media land. Okay, some of the things that he's read in the comments about himself. That's why he kept repeating himself. I'm glad I called the Coast Guard. I'm glad I reached out to Miss Christine first. I'm glad I did this. He was patting himself on the back and he wanted us to give him credit for what he was doing. Okay, he wanted us to see that, look, I'm not a bad person. I was the one that called her out of concern for her son. I was the one that called the Coast Guard to try to get help for Nolan. That's how he wants us to look at that, not to be looking at him with the whole side eye. But maybe we would have been giving him that sort of attention had he done the same thing Javon did after the incident. Posted something nice on social media, said something nice, reached out to the family. But instead, all the things they did, the actions they took, made everyone look at them with the eye of suspicion. And that's just what it is. Okay, Butterfly Rose says, I suggest that we all post Teddy Pendergrass's song, You Can't Hide From Yourself, with the caption, Justice for Nolan Wells. That's a good idea, beloved. Okay, and a cute one. Thank you for that, and thank you for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, some people compartmentalize things. Okay, there's another possibility that doesn't necessarily involve a personality disorder at all, and that's compartmentalization. Human beings can sometimes mentally separate disturbing events from ordinary life. Someone may place an upsetting experience in a psychological box and temporarily function as though everything seems to be normal. Now, that can happen after committing a wrongdoing, but it can also happen to completely innocent people who are dealing with trauma, shock, grief, or fear. And then there's rationalization and moral disengagement. People can also convince themselves that what they did wasn't really wrong. We did nothing wrong. Isn't that what they said? We did nothing wrong. That's what Warren specifically said. And maybe he didn't do anything wrong to him, or maybe he didn't do anything wrong at all. Who knows? We're still trying to figure it all out. They might tell themselves, I had no choice. They brought it on themselves. It wasn't supposed to happen. It's not my responsibility. Someone else caused this. Now, psychologists sometimes describe related processes as moral disengagement. Instead of experiencing the full moral weight of an action, a person creates explanations that allow them to distance themselves from responsibility. And once someone has successfully justified something in their own mind, their outward behavior can appear remarkably normal. Okay, please pay attention. But the most important caution is this. This is where we have to be especially careful when discussing a real case. Okay? That's what we have to do, because keep in mind, there's no universal way that an innocent person, a guilty person, a grieving friend, witness, or a traumatized individual is supposed to behave. And so that's why we have to choose our words carefully and not directly accuse any of them of doing anything, because maybe none of them did a darn thing. They just made themselves look guilty as hell from the actions that they chose to engage in. And I do believe that those actions were spearheaded by none other than Judge Ashley Cole. That's just what I think. I think that she gave them marching orders, and those orders that she may have given them, if in fact she did, and I'm not saying she did, I'm just saying that I have questions as to who told them to take these actions, and seeing as how she's the one who initially came out making statements that I deem as damage control, it seems to me that maybe she was the one that spearheaded the whole thing, having people deactivate social media, lawyer up and all of that, and then stay quiet as mice. Okay, and so that just wasn't a good look for most people. Most people didn't think that was the right thing to do, and felt as though, you're not looking as though you're really trying to help the situation, as one would think that friends, good friends, would have done for their fallen comrade, is all I'm saying. So, it is what it is. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, let's go to this next clip. Let's go to this next clip, because this man had a whole lot to say about Nancy Grace. Remember that guy that said he was going to sue everybody? Yeah, he was talking trash about Nancy Grace, and he's adding her to the list. I just happened to see this morning.
The governor of Mississippi is mad. He's talking about he want Al Sharpton and Ben Crump out of his state. Talking about he gonna kick them out if they don't stop talking about Nolan Wells.
Well, Nancy Grace, I'm going to let you know personally that I'm adding you as a defendant on my civil rights violation complaint, along with Sharpton and Crumb. And yeah, I sure am. And you know, you want to get on here with your celebrity status. You want to get on the world stage, act like a fool, drum up violence and chaos and stuff like that for our wonderful little town. And I tell you what, better hope and pray nobody gets hurt because of your rhetoric and your bullshit propaganda, because you'll be going to jail. I don't care if you used to be a prosecutor. Lots of people used to be fry cooks. You ain't shit now, and you weren't a good prosecutor then, probably. So, yeah, see you there.
Well. It looks like the residents of Mississippi are having a hard time. Now hear me well and hear me good. There's something in the air of Mississippi that is making the residents of Mississippi to have sleepless nights, including their governor. You want to tell me residents have started coming out and they are warning Al Sharpton and Nancy Grace for fueling something that allegedly did not happen? Oh, y'all Nancy Grace and Al Sharpton, y'all making it with Tom be peaceless. Oh my God. No, we need to rephrase that. The people that are making your town restless is the boys that were on the boat. Clear cut, period. If you can give them to us, if you can hand them over to the police station, if you can hand them over to the law, then Mississippi will have peace. Because baby, I'm down telling you, if Nolan Wells, where he is at, he is not having a meal, then they should not have a meal. And
Okay, D Major said he loves her accent. Yeah, I do too. Okay, now likes up, everyone. Please like and share. With that all being said, he had a whole lot to say, and he's talking about filing lawsuits. He's not going to get anywhere. Only thing he's going to do is waste his money. Okay, suing people for what? Speaking their opinions and views. Now here's somebody going in on rage bait him again.
On that phone call to Cito.
Well, I'm glad that you asked, Officer Tatum. My thoughts are is that Cito call revealed a lot of BS. You mean to tell me I didn't hear? Oh my God! Damn it, Bart! Wake the fuck up, Nolan! You know what else my thoughts are? That if they were anybody else, sons of poor people, not the sons of judges and doctors, whether they were white or black, but especially if they were black, they would have already been arrested for frivolous petty charges. Underage drinking, operating a boat while intoxicated. They would have came up with something. That way none of them had time to get together and corroborate their stories. They would have all been investigated independently, interrogated independently. Cops would have said, well, you might as well talk because the other one's snitching. The other one's already throwing you under the bus, so you might as well come forward and get the deal first. They would have threatened them with this gang of time while they're in their jail blues, eating peanut butter and bologna sandwiches out of a brown paper bag, thinking they're never going to get out. Instead, they're on a speaking tour. Who are they trying to convince? Themselves? Save that shit for the judge. Oh, wait, the judge is the mom. The presumption of innocence. This is like the guarantee of innocence for them. First, you say Nolan stays back with a girl. So if he stays back with a girl, then why did he not have his phone? Oh, well, they put the phones up so they don't get wet. But Nolan knew he wasn't going back on that boat. So you mean to tell me that he was staying stranded on an island off the coast of Mississippi with no phone, no communication, with no guarantee ride back? If you believe this, I have swampland for sale. And then what happened to that girl that he stayed back on the island with? He just happened to go for a swim and then accidentally drowned and nobody saw it? Not even the girl that he allegedly stayed back on the island with? So he stayed back on the island with the girl, but didn't bring a phone with him, stranded, then went for a swim, and just happened to drown. Oceanfront property in Arizona. Before this blew up publicly, why would Bart say that he was out of town, responding to a comment of someone else who questioned this very early on in the game before it went global, but you shut down your social media accounts. Is that comment that's floating around really Bart's? We have questions. How come a month later we still don't have answers? How come the independent autopsy did not have the same damn questions we've always had? It's not like these kids were celebrities. Nobody just had their voices laying around or accesses to their voices to make an AI version of it. Then they claim that the CETO and the Coast Guard call proves their innocence. Why would they do that? As a cover-up? Because why would you call the Coast Guard if you thought that your friend stayed back with a girl? One question, okay, but question after question after question that raises suspicion. Please prove me wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
What's your thoughts on that?
Okay, I absolutely agree with everything that he said. Okay, make it make sense. Okay, make it make sense. And they want to blame it on Al Sharpton and Ben Crump. But the bottom line is they brought this on themselves with the actions that they took immediately following the disappearance of Nolan. Okay, they've told so many different stories. They've said so many lies. They've contradicted themselves and each other, like I said. Now, with that all being said, I want you all to pay attention because yesterday I read to you all the letter that was sent by the Wells family attorney, okay, to DA Angel Myers McElrath, informing her that they were absolutely ready, willing, and able to engage in a joint venture for them to have forensic analysts go through Nolan's phone. But they were supposed to do it together. Now, mind you, I told you that the reason they likely did that, sent that letter, was to make sure that nobody's going to come out here later and say that they would not comply. Because that's what I heard people saying. Well, why haven't they given the police Nolan's phone yet? Because they're supposed to be working on it together. But now it looks like they were right to do that because there's a report that came out this morning from News Nation. Nolan Wells' family still hasn't turned over the phone. Okay? Good thing they already explained this. Like, make it all make sense. But let's go to it just to see what they're talking about because we already know that they are more willing. They're absolutely willing to turn over the phone. They're just not going to let them do it by themselves. It has to be a joint venture because they probably don't trust them not to do something sketchy. And I wouldn't either. Another thing I want to remind you all of before we get into this video, if you missed the video from last night, please go back and watch. But what I want to say is this. Now, thinking about the whole situation that I told you all about yesterday with Billy Joe Johnson and how the sheriff's deputy who was with him or had him in custody when he was killed. Okay, which I don't believe that he did that to himself. I believe the sheriff's deputy did it, just like everybody else that had since back then believed it. But I want you all to think about how it was later revealed that that sheriff's deputy was the brother-in-law to the assistant DA. With that all being said, think about that. Someone who likely murdered a man, okay, in cold blood, was never charged for it, never got consequences. They simply labeled it as an accident and said that the victim did it to himself. Now, if they were doing that kind of stuff way back when, if that's absolutely what happened, and I believe that it is, just like many of the people back then believe it, okay, at the end of the day, there's no telling what else they have covered up. And it would make it even more plausible that they're all working together in concert and unison to cover this up too. And I'm not saying that they are. I'm just saying that I have a whole lot of questions because if you cover up one thing or you're accused of covering up a myriad of things, because they have been absolutely down there in Mississippi, who knows what else they're capable of covering up? Okay, and the math's not math. And with all of these people being seen as strange fruit and all these accidental drownings, allegedly, and all these things, it's just not adding up. Okay? So I don't even know why they can fix their mouths to get upset when people question them. I mean, it's the nerve and the audacity of it. They act as though whatever they say, everyone's supposed to believe. Who the hell do they think we are? Rage Batum Tatum? Because he seems to believe anything they say. Okay, but of course he doesn't have any darn sense.
significant new developments in the mysterious death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells that we want to talk about tonight. Now, Wells disappeared after boating with friends on July 4th weekend. Days later, his body was found in the water near Horn Island off Mississippi's Gulf Coast. And while investigators have said that drowning appears to be the preliminary cause of death, even though the official findings from the autopsy haven't been released, his family has continued to raise questions, right? Why did he go off on his own? Why didn't he have a cell phone? How could no one help? How could no one notice? Well, today, the Jackson County District Attorney met face-to-face with Nolan's parents and their legal team for the first time. And after that meeting, the family announced that once investigators complete their work, this case is going to be presented to a grand jury. Now, to be clear, that doesn't mean charges are coming, but it does seem to suggest that jurors are going to review the evidence to determine whether any criminal charges should be filed. The family says the DA also made clear that no decisions about possible charges are going to be made until the sheriff's investigation is complete. And there's also another major development, and this involves one of the most important pieces of evidence in this case, Nolan's cell phone. The phone was reportedly with Nolan's friends. The family says that they believe content may have been removed from the device before it was returned. Now, the phone is going to apparently undergo a joint forensic examination with both law enforcement and the family's independent experts reviewing the device together. They hope it can provide critical answers about Nolan's final hours. I want to bring in Dante Mills, a national trial attorney at Mills Legal. Good to see you, sir. Significant that the family met with the DA, but potential grand jury. Does that signify to you that there's criminal culpability here?
Jesse, not yet. Listen, this is every parent's worst nightmare. You have your child goes out with friends and everybody comes back except your child. So I understand the position they're taking where they want answers. They want to know why this tragic situation happened, and they're willing to do anything to get those answers. And I think rightfully so. Any parent will feel the same way. But let's not jump to conclusions here. We also can't look at what the family is saying and kind of take that as law, because they're going to hear investigators talk the way they kind of want to ingest the information. So the investigators are saying, they're saying, listen, we're doing an investigation. We plan on moving forward. However, the evidence shows, the family can come out of that thinking, well, there has to be something there. So clearly they're going to have something to present to the grand jury, but that's not really the case.
And to be clear, it does not necessarily have to be or would be a homicide charge. There could be other crimes associated with this investigation, even if somebody misled law enforcement, which I'm not saying happened, but you could present anything to a grand jury, right?
Absolutely. And we don't have to be talking about murder or homicide. This could be an accidental death where there was evidence tampering, right? Where they tampered with the evidence, maybe deleted something from the cell phone that just seemed weird or odd, or put somebody else in a bad light. So they did that so they wouldn't look bad, even though it had nothing to do with the death itself.
I got to say, I'm a little confused by the cell phone. I've seen reports that the family hadn't initially handed over to law enforcement, and now it's going to be this joint examination both by the family's experts and law enforcement's experts and investigators. How does that work exactly? Have you ever heard of that before?
I have. I've actually done those forensic analysis of electronic devices where I've had my expert go in and capture these devices, actually get them from the investigators themselves. It's a little different than when you're talking about blood samples or something like that, when you're passing it around and you don't want to do that because it could be, contaminated. With electronic evidence, those things are going to be consistent. It's going to show when a text message was sent, what was included in that text message. There's going to be time blocks and things like that that are really difficult to change and almost impossible to change. So I've had situations where I've done investigations at the same time as the federal or state investigators to try and get that data off of phones, laptops, computers, other things like that. It's different than what you normally think of like passing around blood samples or bullet, fragments or something, or fingerprints can be transferred or something like that.
Two things. One, there's also been a lot of talk about why he didn't have his phone, right? There's some conversation, well, if he went into the water, it'd be not uncommon for him to leave his phone behind. But then if he had gone off to talk with some girl, wouldn't he have his phone? Separate conversation. If it was in if the phone was in the family's possession or in, Ben Crumb's possession for this period of time, does the evidence have to be excluded? Is it not contaminated in some way?
It doesn't. And that's just what we were just talking about. So I mean, some things are concrete, like that electronic data information of when it's or received or if it was deleted. if, say, for example, the family got it and someone's saying, well, evidence is bad because the family could have added that, there's going to be an electronic footprint of when that text was sent. So if it wasn't sent before the death, then obviously it wouldn't be included in any investigation involving the death. That's a little different when you talk about how high stakes those electronic data is, and how actually it shows you how beneficial it is to have that, because that's concrete.
Look, the family needs answers. That's the bottom line. I know they're planning an independent autopsy. I know we're still waiting for the official autopsy from the state. So let's see what happens next. Dante Mills, good to see you, my friend. Thank you.
Always. Thank you.
All right, now let's take a look at this picture one more time. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Let's take a look at this picture again. Now, what exactly does it look like he is up to? You know what? You know what I just noticed? Okay, yeah, that does not look like an arm to me now. This right here, it looked like an arm at first hanging, but now as I can see, it's part of this railing that's in front of him. There's some sort of, it looks like a black railing or something that's in front of him. But nonetheless, even if you take that away, it still looks like he's possibly lifting something up. I don't know. He's definitely looking at something down there on the floor very intensely, and these people are looking as well. I just have several questions. Okay, and that's the thing. We have more questions than answers because they keep doing things that are so obtuse. Okay, they keep saying things that make no sense. Did it ever occur to them that maybe they should just stop talking? The more they talk, in the efforts to try to clear themselves or make themselves appear innocent, the more they look and sound guilty. The more questions they're causing people to have, and the more scrutiny they're placing themselves under, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, that's just what it is. Ear Function said, who provided the alcohol? Well, I'm so glad you asked. That's what I would like to know as well. That's what I would like to know as well. Who provided the alcohol? But the question is, why haven't the police tried to figure that out? Why hasn't anyone been, arrested for that? What about the underage drinking? Operating a boat under the influence? None of those things have been, they haven't really done anything. The only thing they seem to have done is arrested people who were making threats to some of them. I don't even think they bothered to investigate any of the threats that have been sent out to Nolan's family, because they sure haven't made an arrest in those cases. Okay? It's just not looking good as far as I'm concerned. It's not looking good at all. So anyway, with that all being said, I don't know what that is he's holding up on that boat, but it looks like he sure as hell holding up something. Everybody's fixated on him. Once in the chats. Jay Davis says, hold on, let me read this comment. Jay Davis says, I'm curious also, who took the picture? Exactly, whoever it is, these people are looking at him, okay, like they have an attitude. Artrino says, the internet detective's not going to stop until we get down to the cause of Nolan's death and get his family peace. Absolutely. And they're trying to shut everyone up, but that's not going to fly. Okay, that is not going to help. And here's the thing. Let me just say, we already know that the great lengths that some people will go to, specifically wealthy people, that they will go to keep from having to shell out any of their money, okay, to keep from having to face consequences, specifically legal consequences for any of their nefarious actions. Now, I'm not saying anyone in this case. I'm just saying in general, that's the consensus with wealthy people. And we can tell, a prime example of that is Alex Murdaugh. After all the stuff that he did just to try to cover up something that in the end eventually was exposed anyway. Okay, but this is what they'll do. And why do they go through all of this trouble? Well, because the first thing is it's a parent's normal instinct, most parents anyway, to protect their child. But sometimes you might be better off just coming clean. Okay, because now you're just causing more trouble. Now you're implicating yourself if the child has done anything or whatever. Okay, but wealth can provide a family with extraordinary opportunities. Let's not forget. And when a child gets into serious trouble, when a wealthy person's children get into a lot of trouble or serious trouble, those same advantages can create a powerful temptation for the parent. Okay, they start using everything available to them to protect them, all of their resources, all of their connections. And for some wealthy parents, protecting their children doesn't stop at simply hiring a good attorney. Okay, if they believe they can influence the outcome, the motivation might become much stronger. Okay, think about that. Because they're trying to protect the family name, especially if they're a prominent family. A scandal could threaten far more than just one individual. Okay, take for example someone who's got a big time, whose father or mother is a big time doctor, or their mother is a judge, or their father is a judge. Just think about that. And they have political relationships and good social standing. They own property. They have all these future opportunities. You know, they have a reputation that was built over generations. You think they want to lose that? Suddenly, the parent isn't only thinking about protecting their child. In their mind, they may believe they're protecting their entire family legacy. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. And if that be the case, well, there's not too little or too much that they wouldn't do to cover up things that are nefarious in some cases. And I'm not saying these people, I'm just speaking about people in general. Okay, we've all seen those Lifetime movies. We've all seen the reports in the news. How many times have wealthy people done nefarious things to protect their fortune or to keep themselves from being held accountable for something they or someone else in the family may have done? Okay, that could bring them possibly to ruin. Think about it. Okay, so anyway, I definitely find it all interesting. So hopefully we'll get to the bottom of it. And I'm going to tell you all something else. Now, I'll save that for another video. But let's go to this clip right here, because supposedly another young black man is dead. Let's get into it. Like, sub, everyone, please like and share. Now, I haven't seen this video. It just popped up.
In Mississippi, another one. A black high school senior was shot multiple times. Police responded to gunfire. They chased a vehicle leaving the area. They recovered a firearm, and somehow Justin Davis wasn't found until 12 hours later. Justin Davis is an 18-year-old 12th grader at Lake Cormorant High School. Around 2:27 a.m. Sunday morning, deputies responded to reports of gunfire at the Lakeside Vintage Apartments in Robinsonville, Mississippi. Deputies encountered a vehicle that fled the area. They pursued it. The driver eventually stopped, jumped out of the vehicle, and escaped on foot. Inside the vehicle, they recovered a firearm. Why were they able to escape? Justin wasn't discovered until 12 hours later at 2:15 p.m. that Sunday afternoon, after the first police call. He was found in a heavily wooded area near that same apartment complex with multiple gunshot wounds. So did police search those woods at 2:27 a.m. that Sunday morning? Could Justin have been found earlier? Was he already deceased when police initially arrived? We don't know. Why was this 18-year-old high school senior in Robinsonville at 2:30 in the morning? Who was he with? How did he get there? Did his family know where he was? Did anyone report Justin Davis missing? Mississippi. Why does this keep happening? I have covered too many disturbing cases involving Black people in Mississippi, and personally, it has reached the point to where I believe Black families should seriously evaluate whether staying there is worth the risk they perceive. So why in 2026 should Black Mississippians still have to wonder whether leaving home is necessary to feel safe? But until we know who killed Justin Davis and why did it take 12 hours for him to be found, Mississippi, you have serious questions to answer.
That is a darn shame. May he rest in peace. Condolences to his family. I had not even heard about that, but let's go to the news report because I just pulled it up. That is crazy. 12 hours later, there is a problem going on down there in Mississippi, and it's called the United Dixie White Knights of the KKK. That's what it is. This is Klan activity. And I'm sure y'all know that. Okay, all of the strange fruit, the so-called accidental drownings, this is Klan behavior, period.
Dead tonight, the victim of a shooting Sunday in Robinsonville, Mississippi in Tunica County. The sheriff's office identified the victim as 18-year-old Justin Davis, who attended Lake Cormorant High School. Davis reportedly was found dead outside of an apartment complex on Harris Parkway South.
WREG's Mike Sirianni has learned officers are searching for at least one suspect.
Tunica County investigators say the victim, 18-year-old Justin Davis, was found dead Sunday afternoon in this wooded area near the Lakeside Vintage Apartments. Now, his body was found several hours after initial reports of gunfire in the complex.
It was like 2 in the morning, and then we heard the gunshots. First, I didn't know what they was.
This resident of Lakeside Vintage Apartments didn't want to appear on camera, but said the number of gunshots he heard here escalated early Sunday morning.
It kept going, so I kind of figured that it was gunshots, but I, of course, didn't leave the house because, well, they shooting outside, so I didn't really see nothing.
According to the Tunica County Sheriff's Office, when deputies responded to the shots fired call, they made contact with a vehicle that fled the scene. Deputies gave chase, and at some point the suspect vehicle stopped and the driver fled on foot. Deputies recovered a firearm, but the suspect got away. Then Sunday afternoon, just after 2, deputies were called back to the complex to a report an individual had been found shot in a wooded area next to the apartment complex. Investigators found 18-year-old Justin Davis of Walls shot multiple times, and Davis was pronounced deceased by the Tunica County coroner. Investigators say Davis was a 12th grade student at Lake Cormorant High School in DeSoto County.
We went to school together, but I know him like that well, no.
For your news leader in Tunica County, Mike Suriani, WREG News Channel 3.
And we reached out to DeSoto County Schools for a response, but have not heard back. Tunica County investigators haven't revealed a motive for the shooting and are asking anyone with information to contact Tunica County Crime Stoppers at 662-910-0400.
Well, condolences to the family. Condolences to the family, because at this point, I don't even see how Black people still want to live in Mississippi, because I sure wouldn't. Okay? I absolutely would not want to live in Mississippi. Now let's go to this next clip. Like, there are so many crazy things that happen there to Black people, and then no one has any culpability. No one gets any charges or anything. They always blame it on the same Black people. Okay? They make the victim out to be the person who did it to themselves most of the time, or they just never have any answers. I couldn't do it.
If you lied about Morgan, if you lied about Jax, if you lied about Warren, we're going to get you. And you're going to be hauled into court. You're going to be held accountable. And it's going to be very painful. And what I would say to the people who have done that is, now's your chance. If you want to apologize and retract before you find yourself in court, you should probably do that now. Because if you don't do that, once you're in court, now you just can't leave. You won't be able to get out.
Is that a challenge? Because it sure sounded like a challenge, because I have absolutely no problems saying it again with my whole chest. Nolan Wells' friends, actually, you know what? There's someone I can call real quick.
Who is calling? Oh, it's the homie.
Hey, AB.
What it do, boo?
I have a quick question for you.
What's cracking?
If I want to talk about what I personally think happened to Nolan Wells based off the public evidence, that's my own personal opinion and protected by the First Amendment, right?
Okay, homie, where it depends. Okay, first and foremost, did you say the word allegedly, or at least make it clear that it's your opinion? Because that's going to protect you. Speaking of protection, you know the First Amendment is mostly about protecting yourself from the government, right? So since this sounds more like a private person-to-person type of situation, I'm assuming we're talking about defamation here, in which case you can still share your opinions, but just use the word allegedly to be on the safe side, homie.
Oh, Well, let me ask you this. What do you think even are the chances that they will actually sue for defamation? Because isn't it a horrible idea on their part to have those boys get deposed and they go through discovery? Because don't they have to prove their innocence to be able to prove defamation? And then by doing so, won't they create a public record of the civil trial that can then be used as evidence in a potential criminal trial down the road?
Okay, somebody been out here watching court TV. I see you, big dog. Lawsuits are expensive, okay? And defamation lawsuits are not easy to win. So in my opinion, it is more likely you'll get hit with a cease and desist from a lawyer or whatever, so you could take the post down before they really finna try you on a defamation lawsuit. And yes, honey, if you have a defamation lawsuit, there's going to be discovery, and part of discovery is likely going to be a deposition. But yes, a deposition is a legal record, so whatever they say on the record, if it ends up going to a criminal trial, it might come out in court.
Wait, so we don't have to worry about Officer Tatum and their lawyer literally threatening to sue anyone and everyone who is vocalizing that they do not believe Nolan Wells' friends' accounts and think that they may be guilty?
Friend, they can threaten all they want to, okay? The likelihood of these teenage boys actually taking you to court for reporting your opinion is very slim, homie, okay?
Oh, so basically this is just another instance where white people are using the system that they created in their favor and weaponizing it against black people to intimidate them?
I'ma just say, allegedly.
Dope. Because I personally think, in my own personal opinion, that Nolan Wells' friends allegedly are not innocent in what happened to Nolan Wells. And by the way, threatening lawsuits as a form of intimidation while filing frivolous lawsuits is actually considered highly unethical and can get a lawyer disbarred.
If you're out there and you lied about these guys, you lied about my guys, you lied about Tyler's guys here, if you lied about
Okay, well, he's out there making threats. Okay, I told you all, they're not suing any darn body because they don't want a period of discovery. Okay, please pay attention. And here's another thing. If, in fact, they really had a chance, a snowball's chance in hell of suing any of us and getting any darn thing for a win, do you really think that TikTok would be taking down people's videos for talking trash about them? No, they wouldn't. They'd be leaving it up as evidence, okay? They keep giving people community guideline strikes. I literally get one every day. Okay, sometimes I get it as soon as I post the video, and then sometimes I get it after the video started to pick up or takes traction. They take it down, and then I have to go to court with them, basically. Not really go to court, but you know what I'm saying. I have to appeal it, and then they put it up 2 or 3 days later after they've killed the views. But these are the things they do. Okay, these are the things they do, but I don't care. I'm going to keep on posting because I post my TikTok videos everywhere on all my other social media, and they get lots of views there. So at the end of the day, if we were absolutely in trouble of being sued by them, they wouldn't be taking down anybody's videos. Now, let me go to this comment, honey, because somebody done told the queen. Vaughn and Gray said, listen, queen, I'm black and from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. You dead wrong about Mississippi, lady, and you need God in your heart, and you bring bad on your life with God. Honey, don't hold back. Tell the queen how you really feel. First of all, let me say I have questions as to whether or not you're actually black, because black people don't tend to announce that they're black. Whenever I see a question or a comment that says, yeah, I'm black, and even I think, oh, by the way, I'm black. Yeah, when people start off like that, first of all, I think you're all cap. I don't think you're black, because that's just something real black people don't do. But however, whether you're black or not, I'll say this. Vaughn Gray from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I'm not dead wrong, okay? At the end of the day, there has been a lot of black people that have come up deceased under very mysterious and strange consequences and circumstances down there in Mississippi. Am I lying? There happens to be a lot of Klan activity down there in Mississippi. Where's the lie? I showed the receipts that there are 7 active Klan groups in Mississippi, specifically down there in Ocean Springs. They have the United Dixie White Knights of the KKK. So please tell me, what did I lie about? I want you to put it in the chat. I've not told one lie. I've no need to. You see, the truth speaks for itself. Okay? Now, if you want to talk about lies, then I would suggest you start talking about those young men that are down there that's going around doing these interviews on Rage Tatum's show, because they've been telling lies. Now, I'm not saying they lied about everything, but clearly they've lied about something. Specifically, let me just say Warren. Okay, Warren's told some lies. Trayston has too, in my opinion. Now, if that all being said, I didn't tell any lies. And if I did, please tell me what those lies are. I bet you won't. I bet you can't. I bet you have nothing to say. I bet it's crickets. Okay, so don't come on here getting mad at me because all I'm doing is speaking the truth, period. That's just what it is. I mean, if Mississippi is nefarious and they have a whole lot of racism and hatred going on, just tell the truth and shame the devil. Because you're going to tell me the same thing that happened to Emmett Till isn't still happening to black folk down there in 2026? Oh, wait a minute. What about Rasheem Carter? Yeah, what about Rasheem Carter? Wasn't that like an Emmett Till moment? It absolutely was. What about Tyrekus Atkins, the young man who was almost in the same situation as Rasheem Carter, but luckily for him, he was able to escape and flee. He lived to tell the story. Okay, so we have a living witness who can tell us what's going on down there in Mississippi, and who is having all these people that look like me being strange fruited up in trees. Okay, I'm sorry. Where's the lie? You need to sit down somewhere, Vaughn Gray, and stop going around here trying to perpetrate and cosplay as a black person, because we're not that stupid. We know that black people don't say certain such things. Oh, I'm black and I live in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And how I know that that's not a black person is when they called me a lady. Ha! Lady, you don't know what you're talking about. Is that even how black people talk? Absolutely not. No black person has ever addressed me as that lady or you lady. So please sit down somewhere. All right, your cover's blown. Your cover is blown. Okay? Now, and as a matter of fact, the black folk down there in Mississippi are not denying the BS that goes on. I've shown videos of a couple of them and even had one as a guest on my show. And if they say that nefarious things are going on down there in Mississippi to black people who look like them, then gosh darn it, I'm going to believe them. So you can sit down somewhere, Vaughn, is all I'm saying. Okay? Now, Gelato says, at Vaughn Gray was probably at the courthouse when Lamar Smith was unalive. And if you don't know who is Lamar Smith, go do your research. Okay? Thank you, beloved. And you know what? They probably were. Thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay? They need to sit down somewhere is all I'm saying, honey, because you got to get up pretty early in the morning to fool the queen. That's what you got to do. All right. That's what you got to do. And if you don't know who Lamar Smith is, that's a black man who was a veteran who was killed by, I believe, 3 white men. Okay. That was a long time ago. And it was probably, if I'm not mistaken, the same year as Emmett Till, 1955. All right. Y'all know I'm a whole historian, right? Anyway, with that all been said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you, lovely people, for being here. Okay. I will be back later on today. So everyone, please like, share, subscribe to the channel and all of that. Okay, remember, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Oh yeah, I'm on your ass. I just got to know. What up with that audio? We not gonna stop. No, we won't go. I'm hugging your parents in spirit. Yeah. I know that we on this case and we demand answers. Oh, they expose. The real queen of receipts dropping. Oh, and we got your back. Somebody gonna talk. Hell yeah, the ancestors walking. I'm so serious. Queen on the case. Oh, they asking full-blown panic now. They trying to shut us down, close our mouth. But I just won't. Damn that. Well, we not gonna stop. No. We won't go. parents in spirit, yeah. Nolan, we on this case and we demand answers. Oh, they expose. What happened to you? We tied. You don't get the all my kids ain't cover it up. I said, show yourself, yeah. Steady talking about they was his friends. I said, show up and talk if that's the case. Hold on, Nolan, it's coming to the light. Yeah, the queen on the case. Hold on, Nolan, we won't give up. Rest in his peace. We all love you. No. Nolan. Well, we not gonna stop. No. We won't go. I'm hugging your parents in spirit. Nolan, we on this case. Oh, they expose the real queen of receipts dropping